Okay, thanks for joining me. You can see today I'm going to be working on some more graphic design for the Pixelated Audio episode artwork. Every episode has custom artwork. If you watched my last video, you would have seen me do one for episode 74 on Alisia Dragoon, which was a pretty awesome soundtrack. There was a little bit of an update. It ended up being episode 74. While I was working on it, I thought it might have been episode 75, so made some adjustments. And then we also ended up landing an interview with the composer of the game, which is Fumihito Kasatani. So that was pretty awesome. So as you can see in this area right here, this kind of designates to any of our listeners that there's going to be some type of an interview. Um, this episode was a little bit different than our normal type of interview. This composer we talked to, and he was a little bit shy, so he was a little nervous to be on the show. So we kind of asked him some questions, and we read his responses. So unfortunately, he wasn't on the show. Maybe next time we can talk him into being on it. But today I'm going to be working on what is called an expansion pack episode, which these are pretty fun. You can notice the episode artwork layout is a little different. There's some space over here, and it says expansion pack. This is expansion pack 17. So we've been doing these for a little while, um, and they're kind of like short little supplements into our regular episodes. Our regular episodes tend to focus on a single game or a game that has sequels or comes out on other systems. So um, these episodes focus more on Brian and I picking random tracks from random games across a bunch of different systems, and it's just tracks that we ended up really liking. So it ends up being just kind of like a mashup or a medley of tracks that we were really into at that time. I'm going to be playing the music from the episode in the background while I work on this, so you guys can listen to the music. I'm going to be talking over it. So if you want to hear the music by itself, you can either check out our podcast, or one thing that we're going to be doing is we've been recording video of our actual podcast recording sessions. So you'll be able to hear the music with that video. So it's going to be a sped up video of us recording, and then there's going to be no audio other than the music. So you can kind of listen to it that way as well. So that'll be on our Pixelated Audio YouTube. And this video will show up on there as well, the actual making of the artwork. And it'll also show up on my YouTube, which is Man Over Mars. So either way you're watching it, thanks for watching. So I guess we can get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in this blue area and kind of this orange glow area with the episode artwork, and that will be consisting of mostly box art, and they're going to be shrunk down, so they're more of ended up being like a texture. So I think we can get started on that. I have a bunch of the files already prepared. We ended up playing 8 songs, so there's 8 different box arts, and I've already prepared them to be all the same height, which is going to be helpful to kind of get them all to line up. So let's get started on that. I usually like to put them in order of appearance in the show. So the first track was a track that I picked from a game called Dragon Saber. Oops. So here is the artwork for Dragon Saber. This was an arcade game. So this is, the artwork is a little light, so I'm going to darken it a little bit, probably from a scan. And then let's see, so next up, next up was, there it is. It's from a game on the Wonder Swan called Wonder Classics. So now you can see why getting the artwork already pre-sized to the same size is pretty helpful. So now I can just make sure that they're all aligned, and I'll be shrinking them so that they can all fit all the way across, and maybe making multiple rows. So that will need to change. All right. Here's the next one. I don't need this black area on the edges, so I'm going to end up cutting it off. I kind of like letting it just randomly fill up. You can see I'm getting a lot of white, which I kind of just let it do its own thing. I try not to mess with it too much. I also try to keep these pretty quick. So this is a Brian pick. It's pretty funny. One thing that we always love about doing the podcast is finding tracks that are really amazing songs from games you wouldn't expect. And that's one of the things we really love about these expansion pack episodes. This Best Friends My Horse 3D is not a game that I would ever play. It's probably not a game that most people would ever play, but the music is insane. It's so good. And you'll hear it in a little bit. And if you listen to the episode, you'll get to hear a little bit more about the game and when it came out and who published it and all that stuff. And Brian found out a few details about the game, so that's always pretty fun too. Okay, that was my next track from a game called VVV, or just VV, or V5. It's also called Grindstormer in the US. I could only find the Genesis box art from Grindstormer, which I played the arcade version, so I just went with the Japanese arcade flyer. I figured that works. This is a Brian track from our friend Barry Leach, which is pretty cool. We hadn't played any stuff from him in a while, so Brian decided to pick a track from Barry. So, and you can see it's just a wide variety of different systems. A lot of the stuff I picked was from the early 90s. Brian picked some tracks, like the 3D horse one, that's from I think like 2010 or 2012, something like that. So that was pretty recent. Okay. So now I'm going to make these a little smaller so they all fit. And just position them. Try not to be too picky about it. Okay. So I'm going to merge those so now they're all just one image. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate them. don't want to have to deal with all these images, having to click and click and click and click them all. So just make a couple images. If I were ever need them, I can always cut them back apart. So it's not a big deal. So what I'm doing is I'm duplicating, sliding it over so it's not just the same artwork over top of each other, and so everything kind of gets a little bit of a chance to shine. And plus it makes the pattern a little bit more fun when you can't really see the duplication as easily. So now I'm just going to turn all those into one layer. And I'm going to move it back towards the back of the file because I don't want it to cover everything. I want it to be in the background. Okay. So now I'm going to just make it a little bit transparent so I can see through what what I'm looking at. So I can see, like, this here kind of shows up pretty high, and this one you're just catching the bottom. So I'm just going to slide it down a little bit, make it a little bit more even. So now I'm going to actually just cut it. So now it fits. It fits within the shape here. So you can see how it kind of becomes a little bit of a pattern. Normally I like to just go to overlay or soft light or something like that. And just try to play with it so it ends up being slightly different than previous episode. Don't want it to be too noticeable, but I don't want it to be to blend together so much so that you can't actually see much of what's going on. I think that's probably pretty good. You might try adjusting the shade of blue. Okay. So now this little logo here, the little pixelated audio thing, kind of stands out. So I'm going to just adjust its color, and I'm just going to sample some color that's near it, and then by hitting Control U and then hitting Colorize, it'll take and automatically turn it to a shade of whatever color you have selected. It always kind of ends up really desaturated, so if you add some saturation back in, you can see how it is pretty much that color. So now I'm going to just kind of darken it, so now it feels like it kind of fits in. That's pretty much the most part, the biggest part of this artwork. The other thing that you might notice is that above the arcade is empty. Normally in our other episode artwork, our regular episodes, which I'll switch to, Brian and I are sitting at the arcades, and there is a little sprite artwork and a logo and stuff like that. But since this is a whole bunch of games across a whole bunch of systems, I don't have room to put all the logos and different artwork. So what I normally do is I make a little pixel version of a character from the game, or from one of the games, as kind of like a little mascot, someone that kind of represents the episode, I guess. And for this one, I'm going to be doing a little pixel person from the game Legend of Hero Tonma, which was the actual last track that Brian picked for the episode. It's a TurboGrafx 16 or PC Engine game, and so now I'm just gonna basically zoom way in so that I can get to where you can see individual pixels. So show pixel grid is on. Oops. So now when you zoom in far enough, you can see here, you can see the actual individual pixels. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be making a little pixel guide. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sample color from the artwork. So here's the little guy that I'm going to make, just a super small, very low pixel version. So go back to this file, let's create a new layer. I'm going to switch to, if you notice, the brush has it's a circle shape. It's kind of like a soft circle. If you switch to pencil, it becomes a square. I have it already set to 1 pixel, so you can see it only will draw 1 pixel. See? So now what I'm going to do is make the little guy. Normally the heads are about 4 by 4. So let's give him some eyeballs. Something for eyeballs right now. So I'm going to be switching kind of back and forth between the different screens. So you won't see me eye drop from the other image, but that's what I'm doing. So your eraser tool is the same way as your brush tool. It's normally set to a brush, but you can set it to a pencil and it will become a square or a jagged shape. So I set to 15 pixels right now. Oh wow, that moved. I didn't notice that move. Whoops. So set to 15 pixels right now, so I'm just going to turn it all the way down to 1. And then now you have an eraser that will erase 1 pixel at a time. So this little guy, blue cape. His face is a little dark. It's a little dark, so I'm going to brighten it up a little. Give us a little rosy cheeks. Body. That's a little red belt, so I'm just gonna, it's the same color in the drawing, but since I can't really define between the two in such low resolution, it's gonna make it a little darker. It's more of that taking creative license. See, it has a little white. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so let me see how I handle the shoulders. Okay, 2, then. Okay, there's the little flap. Let's see, I have some more images of the sky. Okay, so in the game, the actual game artwork, they give him a black belt. And his hair kind of comes down. So. Okay, so he's a short little guy. Let's add a little bit, let's use this color. Give him a little bit of depth to his shirt. So you can actually see how small the little guy is. That's just a couple of pixels tall. These are made the same way. They were originally made as just single pixels and they were scaled up. If you watched my last video, you'll know that this version that I have of Photoshop at home doesn't do scaling with nearest neighbor, which what nearest neighbor does is when you're scaling, it takes, because as you're scaling, pixels, they expand, and what it does is it takes and fills those pixels with the exact same color around it, keeping it in a square shape. So I can't do that, so it gets real fuzzy, it gets real blurry. So what I need to do is I have to get a little creative, and what I do is I zoom in. What I'll have to do is turn off pixel grid, so now you can't see the pixel grid anymore, and then what I do is I take a screenshot, and all those screenshots get put in my Dropbox. Okay, so I was having a little bit of trouble getting my screenshots to go to Dropbox. Last time I had forgot that my screenshots go to Dropbox, so I was looking for them. This time I thought I was going to be prepared, but lo and behold, technology has thwarted me. So I zoomed in, and what I did was I took this screenshot, and now I'm going to cut off the background. So now I have an image without a background. And now I'm going to bring it over, and you'll see compared to this one, it is quite a bit bigger. And it works fine scaling down. It doesn't get as blurry as scaling up. So having him a little too big is fine. So now I'm going to just get a rough idea. See if he's can get like a rough size. He's not going to be standing directly next to them, so it's not that big of a deal. Close enough. So now he will be standing in the arcade. I just got to make sure I turn off the layer that has the little pixel guy up there. So now he's in place. And I think he looks pretty good. Not really loving this color in the background, I guess. It looks kind of faded. I usually like these to be pretty vibrant. So let's try messing with the color a little bit more. Started out blue, if you remember. So let's see. Funny how things react very differently. You just adjust some settings just a little bit, and you get something completely different. I think this is more of the culprit. can kind of see through to this lighter blue. So yeah, I think that's much better. Okay, so essentially that, oh, for some reason this got changed back. Oh, I'm sorry, I changed it from red, so that stayed red, so I got to make this blue now, since I decided not to keep the red. Same process, colorize, add a little bit of saturation back to it, and there we go. So there's episode 75. This will be out in a little while. So this will be released on YouTube, on both the YouTube channels, the day that the episode comes out, which today is the 6th. So this episode will come out on February 15th. So the day after Valentine's Day, if you need a little break, need a little alone time, you can check out Pixelated Audio for some good VGM, some talking about games and kind of nerding out. So thanks for watching. Like I said, check out Pixelated Audio. Check out the Pixelated Audio YouTube. You can also watch the episodes on there. You can watch them on our website, on iTunes, all that stuff. If you're watching this on the Pixelated Audio stream, make sure to check out my page, which is Man Over Mars on YouTube. I also have Twitch. You can go to my website, manovermars.com. Twitter, all that stuff. Everything is pretty much Man Over Mars, so should be pretty easy to find. So once again, thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.